Okay, in this video, we're going to be making this table with a tablecloth on top as a setup. And you don't really need to know that much stuff about Blender, maybe some basics of edit mode, and that's it. So without further ado, let's begin. So yeah, let's begin. So I'm gonna put a reference for you guys up here, somewhere above, and yeah. So first, I'm not gonna delete the default cube, and instead I'm going to scale it Shift Z to make it the leg of our table. Move it on the Y, GY, GX, Shift D, move it on the X, and select both of them, Shift D, move it on the Y, like this. So we got a table. Now you should make it symmetrical if you can on both sides like this. And now we're gonna add the face of our table. So Shift A, add cube, GZ, scale it down on the Z, scale it Shift Z, something like this, scale on the Y like this, and yeah. So now select the whole thing and click on the table, make sure it's the active object, and then press Ctrl J to join it, and good, it's now joined. So now look from side view and make sure that it's on the ground. The ground is the green line. If you're in front view, then it's the orange line. Okay, then you're gonna add a plane and just adjust the size a little bit, and yeah, it's pretty good. And now just add a plane. This is gonna be our cloth now. So Shift A, add plane, move it up, and scale it up. So this is gonna be our cloth. Go into wireframe and kind of adjust the shape of it to be pretty good. Yeah, about that. Maybe a little bit bigger would work. And go back into solid view, and there we go. So now what we need to do is to subdivide our cube, or else it can't bend like a cloth would. So tab into edit mode and make sure everything is selected, right click, subdivide, and go into down here. Don't click anything yet. If you did, then you need to do it again. Go down here and change the number of cuts to 20. You can do more to make the cloth more flexible, but now just keep it here. So now what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to the physics tab right here. Right here is the physics, and add a cloth. Make sure the cloth is selected. Add the cloth right here, and then that's done, right? Let's see. So press the spacebar to run the animation, and oh, it's going through our table. That's because our table and our floor doesn't have collisions, so it doesn't collide with our cloth. So we just simply have to add the collision. So select the plane, add a collision right here. Make sure you're in the physics tab, add a collision, go here and add a collision, and then let's try running the animation again. There we go. So now what you can do is select our cloth and add a subdivision surface modifier to make it slightly more beautiful than shade smooth. Okay. Now what you can do is go down to the physics tab right here and adjust some stuff to like change the shape of our, like how bendy or how tough our cloth we want. So first thing is, if we zoom in here, we can see that cloth is going through the table a little bit. That's because our table, the corner, is literally just like a few like 3 lines connecting and there's 1 dot. It's literally sharp as a needle, so we need to add a bevel modifier to lower that sharpness. So go select the table, go to the modifier, add modifier, and add a bevel modifier. And as you can see, it's not going through anymore, but I think it's beveling too much, so just lower the amount if you can, just a little bit, maybe like 0.05. Okay, that's too little. 0.02, 0.02, 0.03. Now it does not like everyone's gonna be the same, so you just need to find a proper amount. Like my one's about this, it's slightly like barely visible, something like that. You want to go for something like that. Okay, so now shade smooth our table, right click shade smooth, and now look from camera view, and the object, we can't see the whole thing, so G and Z again to zoom in and zoom out our camera, and we got it. So when we run the animation, there we go. So I feel like our table's too tough, it's kind of too rubber-ish, so I'm gonna go to my physics tab right here and lower the tension to like 1 first. We're gonna see how different it's gonna be. Lower the tension. I don't think I need to change the bend, and just go back to frame 0 and start running again. And yeah, maybe 0.1. Just trying out different stuff. One thing though is if you have too little tension and compression, it will go through our object. So maybe not. I think 1 is enough. Now there's another way you can do is subdivide our cloth again. So let's see. Tab into edit mode, A, subdivide. Just 1 time is enough. And yeah, that works. So we're gonna go with that. We subdivide it 1 more time, and then we're gonna lower the tension and the compression to 1. And there we go, a cloth. Now one thing, as you can see, is that the cloth is going through itself like this. So we need to add the collision to itself. So just go to our physics properties and just scroll down to the collisions right here. Open it and click the self collision and go back to 1, and let's see. As you can see, it doesn't touch itself anymore, like go through itself. So yeah. So now all we need to do is make the sliding animation. So basically go to frame like 50 where you want the table and the ground to be ready for the cloth to fall down. So go to frame 50 and select our table and our floor and press I. Make sure your your cursor is in the viewport. Press I and location. So now at 50 there's going to be this diamond, aka the keyframe right there. So now go to frame 1 and then now turn on this blue thing right here, turn it on, and move your table far away where it's not in the camera visible area, and also move away your table. The more further it is, the faster it will come in. So yeah. And maybe if you want the floor to come first, then you can select the floor and duplicate the frame 50 keyframe by selecting it. It's orange, shift D, and move it to like 40. So when you do that, the floor will come before the table 10 frames. Okay, so let's see this again. So now as you can see, the cloth is falling down because the table is not coming in time. Now there's two ways we can fix this. We can move it up, or we can set where the animation begins. But right now the cloth is in the camera view, which we don't want that, so we're just gonna move it up on the Z so it's not visible first. And let's see again. Yeah. So that may work, but it's not how we usually do it. So how we usually do it is basically select our cloth right here and go to the physics properties and collapse everything. Not everything, but like, you know, collapse the most of the things so you can see the stuff right here. Don't collapse cloth or else the whole thing will be bye-bye. So just find the catch right here, catch, and then set the simulation start to frame 50 where the table is ready. Then set the end to 250. That is correct. And now you don't need to have your cloth too high. Okay. And I forgot to turn on the blue thing, so just turn off, and then there's keyframes here, so I'm just gonna delete it, and let's see how the result would be. So the table and the thing comes first, then the cloth. Okay, the floor, the table, the cloth. Okay, so now we just add the textures onto it. So go into material preview and just go one by one. So the ground, select the material properties new and go to shading and make sure you have Node Wrangler ticked on. Go to edit preferences and add-ons, then search Node Wrangler right here, make sure it's ticked, and yeah. So now click on it, Control Shift T, and go to wherever you save your textures. So I download my textures from a website called Polyhaven. There's a bunch of textures you can download, and go find like 3 textures, one for the floor and one for the table and one for the tablecloth. So right here is my textures, and first I'm just gonna load for the ground first, as we just did. Now I'm using a texture called wood table. You can go look at that one if you want to have identical result. Select all of them, principal texture setup, and there we go. And all we want to do is increase the strength up to 10, and now do the same thing for the table. So select the table, Control Shift T, and I'm using a texture called plywood for the table. So just select the whole thing and principal texture setup. And I feel like the foot of the table, the bottom areas are too dark. I'm just gonna shade flat since it's not like needed. And now the texture for the cloth, new, Control Shift T, and I'm using a texture called fabric cat, like this. So select the whole thing, principal texture setup, and there we go. And all we want to do is increase the strength as usual. So go back into layout, press 0, and run the animation and see the result. Okay. So now we're gonna render it. So go to our viewport, and it has a nice light setup for us, but we're gonna duplicate it because I feel like it's a little bit too dark. Somewhere around here, we don't really need to have complex lighting for now, or else we're gonna have a very long render. Now if you want to do it, totally your choice. So yeah, so now all you have to do is go to the output properties and change the file format to from PNG to FMPEG video, and change the output location to wherever you want to save it. So I already have a place to save it, which is right here. So I just hit render animation, and it's gonna take a few moments to render. Right here you can check what frame it's on. The frame at the end is 250, so we just wait a few moments. So it's now done rendering, and you can go check the folder where you saved it, and that should be it. Okay, so that is it for this video of making like cloth simulations and stuff, and there will be more upcoming videos about it, so you don't have to worry. So that is it for this video, and bye bye.